Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Gist with Girls in Science and Technology. Gist with Gist. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, Girls in Science and Technology Ghana, and let's learn from our amazing females in science, technology, engineering, and math, our females in the STEM fields. Let's educate our young females on the endless opportunities out there when it comes to STEM. And let's let them know that it's possible. People are doing it out there. Thank you. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome once again to Gist with Girls in Science and Technology. Gist with Gist. So on today's show, I have this lady. I've worked with her personally, or I work with her. This I've worked or I work. I don't even know anymore. But when you come into the office and you want a tough lady, you know, most of the time in the STEM fields, we have men, right? Like men dominating, but don't try this one. Don't try her. And I'll tell you the story of how I met her. Her name is Nidra YEBUAH. She is a geologist, and she's going to tell us about her job, what exactly she does, and why she got into this field. It's going to be an interactive one, so you guys just brace yourselves. I'm very sure you're going to enjoy it. Hello, ARABA. Thank you for joining.
Hello, Hima.
Thank you so much. Do you remember how we met?
It's quite vague. We met in somewhere in Lagos, but I can't remember the details, but you seem to remember.
I do. So when I joined the company, my first assignment was Nigeria in Lagos. So Lagos in Nigeria. So when I got there, I was on a vessel before, right? Then later they moved me to the staff house. So I was sharing the apartment with a Nigerian who said, "Oh, your Ghanaian sister is opposite. She lives opposite us." I was like, "Oh, really? I want to meet her." So I went to meet her. I remember so well. She was with another colleague of hers. As soon as I entered, she was like, "I hope you have a boyfriend, though." She said, "I hope you have a boyfriend."
Are you sure? Did I really ask you that?
Like, I just got married last month. Good, because this work can actually suck you in. So you have to make sure you have someone already. I was so shocked. It was my first time meeting her, and that is the first thing she said. So, ARABA, you are welcome. Thank you for. I've learned a lot from you. People say I'm hard. They've not met ARABA. She was the first Ghanaian I met in Nigeria, so she vimmed me up. Anyway, ARABA, please, today we want you to share your educational background with us. What she studied in school.
Right. Okay, thank you very much, Ahima, for taking me down memory lane. Even though I've forgotten quite a bit, but hey, yeah, I guess I was that crazy, and I still am. All right. So in terms of educational background, I've always been science oriented. I guess, though I talk a lot, people always thought I would go down the law lane, but I have an inquisitive mind. I ask a lot of questions, and so it seemed like I was going to get into the sciences. I found myself inclined towards that when I was in secondary school. I schooled in Nigeria, by the way, my secondary school, until I came to Ghana. So in Ghana, actually, it's a funny story. It's not. I never tell it as a straight story. So I didn't set up to or start out to do geology. No, that wasn't the plan. I never knew what I wanted to be. It's interesting. I didn't know. I'm not one of those people that say, "Oh, I want to be a pilot. I want to be an engineer." No, I had no clue about what I wanted to do with myself. But I knew I wanted to be in the sciences. So when I came to Ghana in 2004, my daddy brought me down. I bought the Legon forms. I essentially just felt I was looking through the courses. Okay, which courses look interesting? Okay, biological sciences. What can I do with that? Okay, it can take me to medical school. It won't be bad. I like children. I could be a pediatrician. So maybe I should write that. So that's essentially how I filled my form. Kind of doing and pick and choose and rationalizing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started it out. And hey, I was okay, doing well, and then I became playful in my second year, and it affected my grades and my ability to go to the medical school, obviously. So then again, I was back to square one. No medical school for me, so what do? Then I remember that I did a course in level 100. I think I really enjoyed that course. geology. And I think I had a snippet of it when I did geography in secondary school. I might just do well in this course, and that's how I landed in geology. So I started doing geology in level 300. I actually combined level 200 and 300 courses at the time, and that's another story for another day. So I did geology. I excelled in geology by the grace of God, and then I, went back to do my master's in petroleum geoscience. So currently, I hold a master's in petroleum geoscience from the both of them from the University of Ghana. So essentially, I'm a geologist. Yeah. So
Okay, thank you.
the story is so long that I don't want to tell you all about it. That's one we'll talk about it when we meet face to face with her, with the
Okay,
audience.
okay. So can you please explain to us your job, like your job roles, what exactly is involved in being a geologist? Let me say this: she's a geologist with the software integrated services in her company. So what exactly does that entail?
So, geology basically, as the word is, it's just the study of the earth, if I may put it that way. The earth is actually made up largely of rocks. So, in my current role as a geologist in the oil and gas industry, in fact, I work with a service company. We are actually the proponents of some of the world-class leading softwares, for instance, and I work technically as to support on those different softwares, but that's not the key thing. The key thing is taking my geological knowledge. When we talk about oil field and we go talking about reservoirs and all of that, we want to do some sort of studies in terms of the geology of the field. You want to understand what is this field, because you don't just get up and go and start putting holes down the earth. No. So before people in the production side will come in, somebody has to understand what kind of geology you have, and somebody has to be able to give you the structure, and then you look at, okay, where are my possible areas where I can find oil and stuff like that before you actually get into the nitty gritties, and then go down to planning your wells and then drilling to confirm if the hypothesis you had, if there was oil there, is there or not. I'm trying so hard to keep it very basic. I don't want it to be too overly technical, because look, every field in itself has its own technical jargon. So I don't want to use the technical jargons to bamboozle anyone. Explore, we search for things, we try to make them in an understandable manner, put it out there, and then we use those things to make decisions, right? So I try to use very basic English for this, but essentially that's what I do. So currently I support our software. Our clients use our softwares to do this work, right? They are doing the exploration, and then they are, looking at their data and trying to interpret their data, and I support them in helping them to use that tool to achieve what they are trying to achieve. So that's one of the things I do. And then previously, I used to also do the image analysis. So when they drill a well, one of the segments will go down, take logs, image. They call it images, like borehole pictures, right? And then I, as a geologist, picks it up, orients this image, and tries to interpret the image to see what the structure is, the geological structure is, and then we can use that information to feed into, if you're doing like a field studies. A well is just a single location. A field could be this big. Let's just assume like you have a big pot. That is your field, and then that single ladle is one well. So you have information from that one well. You take that information and then you try to use it to improve your understanding of what you had in the pot. Essentially, that's what it is.
Thank you. As a female in this field, I'm sure you've been faced with some challenges. Can you share your challenges and how you've overcome them to this point?
Right. So, okay. I think my challenges started way back in school. Um, though I was in a class where luckily we had a good mix of male and female in our class at the time. So, but yes, that challenge is always there, because at the time I started out, I didn't even know I was going to go into the oil and gas industry. I thought I was going to be in the mines, because at the time that was what we had in Ghana, right? In 2008, the oil industry was still very fresh then. I didn't really think about it, so I was thinking more along the mines, going into the mines. And then I would say, to be very fair to my lecturers, I mean, back then in school, they never made us feel like we couldn't achieve it. No, I think on the contrary, they were quite open-minded. I think I have to give it. Yeah, you would have one or two of those people who feel like she's a woman. Why is she talking too much? Why is she even in this? Why is she doing that? But to be very fair to them, and I'm still pretty much in touch with most of them. They gave us our best shots, and we had girls who were, really matching the boys boot for boot. It was never about you being a girl or being a boy. It's all about what you had in here. And even when we went to the field, we actually had the ladies sometimes even being more daredevils, if I may say that, than the guys. I mean, not that I'm trying to say the guys weren't doing it. No, not that's not the point. But you found out that the ladies were equally matching up, doing stuff. We go to the field. We are going to take geological samples. We have the hammers and we are cracking. I mean, I was pretty much a tomboy, to be very very honest, And we're doing things, matching them, taking the walks, long hikes, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers walks, going through the paths, and you might be unlucky, you might be lucky, you might see a snake or not, But we were. I think we were just okay with it. I mean, we did. I even did field work. I was in the bush for like 6 weeks, and I think that was actually a really good time. I had a lot of fun. I had guys in my team, and we had to rent a house, typically like what an exploration geologist would do in the mine. So in the industry, I haven't also seen it to be different. I guess maybe because I work in a very diverse company, I have not necessarily experienced people putting me down because I'm a female. No. Well, then again, I'm somebody who is very assertive, so perhaps they wouldn't
They wouldn't
even
try.
dare bring it to me. Yes, so that's why I said let me be fair on that point, because I'm very assertive. If I believe in something, I will defend it, and I do not let people just push me over. No, I do not do that. I don't think that's good for my career. I don't think that's good for me as an individual. So no, I it might have happened, but it must
You
have
didn't
happened
let
at my
that
blind
break you
side.
down.
It's my blind side. I have never really taken note of it. I mean, yes, occasionally you get somebody pass a comment and immediately I just shut it down and then we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As I
So
said, one strong lady, so you won't dare, you won't try her. Okay. I like asking these questions to mothers and wives because
mhm,
most of the time it's women take care of the
mhm,
kids most of the time.
right.
Women take
Mhm,
care of the kids, take care of the home, take care of the family.
mhm,
So then some
okay.
people believe that it becomes a challenge when you are a career woman and you have a family, and especially even when you have a kid or a child, right? So how do you
Mhm,
combine this, being a mom, you're a wife,
mhm,
and you work, you have a career? How would you say
mhm.
you balance this out?
Right. Okay. So one thing I learned early on in my career is that there's never really that perfect balance. Much as some people like us to believe that you can be in quote perfect, well, maybe for them, but there's really no, I wouldn't say there is a perfect balance. We try our best to ensure that we are giving attention to everything equally, but the truth is that it rarely happens. So sometimes something might suffer a little, but then you quickly, turn your attention back on that. So it's almost like, I would say it's more of a juggle, right? We are constantly juggling to see at every point in time, you're trying to ensure that you're trying to give as much attention to every particular aspect of the life as possible. I am also someone who is, I would say, I am blessed, perhaps, if that's the word to use, or I'm lucky, or I was intentional in who I went to settle down with in terms of who I got married to. And he's not a typical, we do not have the typical mindset of, a wife should be doing this. No, I wouldn't even be married to him if he had that kind of mindset. If like a wife should be in the kitchen, and no, I don't have that. I love to cook. Ideally, I mean, funny, I love to cook. I love to do all this house stuff, but then I don't see it as a choice. Something that I just do because, hey, it is what it is. I just love to do it. I'm able to do what I want to do because I have someone who supports me. I have parents who are very supportive. I have in-laws who are actually very supportive as well. And then I have a husband who In fact, when I am even trying to hold back, he pushes me. He was like, "You can do this. Why are you running away from this opportunity when you know perfectly well that you are long overdue to get my promotion, last promotion?" He pushed me to write the documentation because I was getting, so I don't know, discouraged along the way because I felt like, hey, I don't think I deserve this. And he was like, "What are you telling me?" And then he starts listing, and I'm like, wow, oh, he actually notices some of the things I've done and kind of gave me that urge to go on. So having a supportive partner helps, but as an individual, you also have to look and then realize that, okay, hey, family is important, but then again, career is equally important, because at the end of the day, you want to feel accomplished. So you have to try to now create that balance. When you have to have family time, try not to compromise on that. When it's time to work, you try and work as much. Now, working from home, I'm happy because I'm able to now get the best of both worlds. I get to see my child almost every day, and I'm still able to get all my work done. And I don't even have to go and sit in traffic for 2 hours and then be so frustrated by the time I get home. So yes, it's a juggle, and there are days where it gets overwhelming, but I think it's rewarding personally for me.
Thank you so much, Araba. As I said earlier, Araba is a geologist, a very strong one, a very strong one, and she supports in STEM activities a lot. So, Araba, what is next for you? Like, do you have anything planned? Is there something else that you are hoping to achieve? Like, what is next?
Well, I don't know if that is something that will count as well. It technically is. I am someone who I have chosen to be very positive about life. My new mantra is, just try to see the beauty in every situation, or try to see the silver lining in every situation. So, in terms of what next for me, career-wise, for instance, is that, hey, I know that the industry is undergoing a significant turmoil, significant a paradigm shift, if I might say, and things might not be the same way they used to be. But the point for me is that as an individual, I need to stay on top of my game wherever I find myself, whether or not I'm in the industry or not. I should always be able to um, stay relevant. So one of the things I have been trying to do this time is to up my knowledge on digitalization, because we are in a digital age. I mean, whether you like it or not, we are in a digital age. I mean, without these phones and stuff, if COVID had come several years ago, it would have been a complete disaster, because I don't know how people would have had to work. But pretty much for some of us, our work has not really shut down, because we've still been working as we should, right? Because we are in this digital age. So I have been looking at ways of getting into the digital. So I've been taking all these short online courses, trying to understand what they call it, the internet, what they call it, revolution 4.0 or something like that. It's a technology age, trying to do a little bit of data science, understand big data. Yeah, you hear all these buzzwords: big data, artificial learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. So essentially, I'm just trying to gather knowledge along those lines and see how best, okay, as a geologist, okay, in what way am I going to improve myself, adding this digitalization to my knowledge to my what I already know. So at some point, I might go into do a course. It could be a course. It could be it could be an MBA or something in big data analytics. I haven't decided yet, but yes, for now, I'm just taking all those online free courses on EDX and stuff like that, and just to see how well it goes up.
Okay. Thank you, Araba. So, what advice do you have for our young females looking to go into STEM? I know you're a strong supporter when it comes to motivating our young ones. Even within your workplace, you take part in so I say societies in the workplace that supports this gender. So this agenda, sorry. So what advice do you have for our young ones?
Right. So first and foremost, one thing I always say is that, hey, if you are not interested in the STEM, it's perfectly okay.
Yes.
It's perfectly okay. Sometimes one thing I've come to see sometimes is that sometimes people tend to feel pressured to go and do STEM, the females, because, oh, girls in STEM, girls in STEM. It's a beautiful thing. But first and foremost, let me address those people first. It's okay to want to do something totally different. That's fine. Now, for those who genuinely have a heart for the science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing, which is the STEM abbreviation, I would say just give it your best shot. One key thing you should always know, and this is not me trying to be a motivational speaker. By the way, I hate motivational speakers because most of the time they've never lived through what they claim and they tell us. So I don't like a lot of them, just a few. Now, one thing I have come to understand, and this is me talking from personal experience, is that if you don't believe that you can do it, my dear sister, don't even go in. Because you don't believe it anyways. You don't even start it. But if you want to go into it, the first thing is that you have to first believe that, hey, I'm going in to do this, and I'm not going in just to go and complete the seats and to be counted, but I'm actually going to go in and excel. When I was joining, I told you I had a long story concerning my geology. When I was joining that department, now biological science at that time, you had to do biological science for 2 years before you could try to go to medical school. But at the year when I was doing mine, that was the same year they were trying to change it from 2 years to 1 year. So we had a class, so they had to pick from both level 200 and level 100. So that means the numbers of students they needed to pick had reduced by 50% from each of the 2 years. And so obviously they have to go for people with the highest GPA at the time. And I was very playful in my second year, so I didn't meet the cutoff. So when I went to do geology, I mean, I was just, I don't know, it was some kind of, the elements of the world just aligned, and somehow I got allowed to do geology in level 300, but I had to combine it with level 200 prerequisite courses. Now that was crazy for something that you had not done. We tried to get into groups. I and one of my close friends, who happens to be a geologist in Talo as well, I tried to talk to a few friends I already knew that I want to join your group, your reading group, so that I can come up speed. Oh, I got a lot of resistance. We are full. We are not. We are sorry. We've met our maximum number. I'm like, you guys, it's not like you're going anywhere. You're just friends. Can't you just, because of, then I realized that this world is not a very, 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 very friendly world. They all rejected us. And then one of my close friends, she's still a good close friend, because those words she said to me really helped me. She looked straight into my face and the face of my friend, who is also now in Talo, and she says, look, Abba, you know I'm your friend and I won't lie to you. I don't think you guys can make it in this course. Even we who have been here from level 200, she said it's in PG, we know the seat up. So what makes you think that you guys can come in level 300 and combine the two courses and do very well in it? She looked into my face and I just looked into her and I said, thank you so much. And that was the end of me trying to get into any study group. I said, in the land of the blind, one-eyed man is king. So I choose to be the one-eyed man and be the king. And I got myself, my friend in Talo, and then another friend of mine who happened to be Nigerian. The rest they say is history. And by the way, I graduated as the best female in my department.
Wow.
So I determined that I was going to do it. And that's why I said I'm not talking based on the typical, oh, I've seen people. No, this is me talking from personal experience. Somebody telling me straight to my face that you will fail at this. It, rather than discourage me, it made me want to prove that, not just prove to them, not because of them, but I wanted to let them know that I want to do this and I will excel at this no matter what you or the rest of the world thinks about it. And that is what is carrying me till today, and I have that attitude going forward. So STEM is interesting. It can be difficult, it can be easy. It's dependent on your perception and what you think about it. So that's pretty much what I would say. Just believe in it first and foremost, that you can do it, and then trust me, everything will fall in place for you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, ARABA. Thank you for your time. I'm sure the little one is knocking somewhere, but you made time for us. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to the ladies. I appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you, guys,
All
for
right.
joining us. We'll see you on our next episode.